What's going on in the world today? What's going on, top agent experts? And Tom, how are you? Welcome to 2% Top Agent Mastermind.
Oh man, I'm doing great, Adam. Excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on here. I learned who you were, I don't know, maybe like 3 years ago. Brent was telling me about you. And I was on a call with him, and he was really, really excited about you. And he was shocked that I didn't know who you were. And I apologize. And then the more that I've got to know you, like you're just like a veteran and like an all-star stud, like number one in all of KW in the world for like 7 years running, like over 7,000 houses sold. You've been in top 10, I think, in the Wall Street Journal in the team category too, right? As you're building it. And it's phenomenal. The energy that it takes to operate teams is what I've said is a young man and a young woman's game. And to see people at your level operating at the level that you're doing it at, and 35 years doing it that consistently, man, it is amazing. And so I know that I got to spend a little bit of time speaking with you in Cabo. And so I appreciate you inviting me to speak to your tribe and your group, a few weeks ago. And so you accepted our invitation to come on here and speak around production. Obviously, you know a lot about that and done a lot of volume. And so I'm gonna turn it over to you, Tom. And it's like you're on the hard 75, man. You're like focused going into build. I'm gonna see you here soon as well. But like, how can you stay this consistent, and what can you teach, maybe some of these younger people or veterans, somebody like myself, 13 years in the game, like, how I can be like Tom when I grow up? And I'm going to go grab a pen and a piece of paper and take some notes.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, Adam. But to be honest, it hasn't always been that way. So some of the things I'm going to share today, I'm going to share the 4 keys to success. But to be honest, I haven't always been successful. In fact, when I first started out in the real estate business, I was doing everything that they told me to do. I was knocking on doors. I was calling expireds. I was doing for sale by owners. I was taking floor time. For those of you that don't know what floor time is, it's when you're sitting in the office and waiting for people to come into you. I was doing everything, and I was extremely overwhelmed. And I was really, really blessed to have an amazing mentor as a broker, John Aberg. He saw me working hard and grinding it out, and nothing was happening for like 60 days, like 2 months. And he said, you know what? Hey, I'm going to a PMA, a positive mental attitude conference, and I'd love for you to go with me. So we hopped in the plane. We flew down to Los Angeles, LAX. I'll never forget. I mean, I was a young kid, like, I don't know, 18, 19 years old. I was still wet behind the ears. And the amount of talent that was at that event, and it was clear back like in the late 70s. So before probably most of you all were even born, but it was the very beginning of the positive mental attitude. It was Jim Rohn. It was Clement Stone. It was Tony Robbins. It was just a number of the top. Art Linkletter was there. There was just some of the top leaders, John Maxwell in the world. And it was just a taste for me to realize, actually, the first key that I'm going to share with you today is in mindset. And it changed my mindset so much that it definitely changed my world and it changed my life. From then on, I had a positive mental attitude, growth-minded, always learning and growing. And we have only tapped into a small percentage of the capability of our minds. So with that story, that's actually the first key to success. We have to think big, growth-minded, positive, constantly growing. I'm constantly learning, reading. Right now I'm doing a 75-day hard. So I'm growing, I'm reading books every single day. And when I'm working out, I'm listening to a podcast. So I would just recommend everyone to listen and learn and grow. That's the number one tip. The first one that I'd like to share with all of you is mindset. And I'm sure, Adam, you've been extremely successful, and you have also followed suit with mindset. So don't ever forget mindset. Any opportunity that you have to go to an event and learn and grow. So the first key to success is mindset. All right, write that one down. The second key to success is how you spend your time. And again, I haven't always done this as well as I could have or should have. But I've learned that when we spend our time extremely disciplined, doing the right things in the right order, and it goes back to the Pareto principle. There's 20% of your activities that are going to give you 80% of the results. So in real estate, what's your job description? Well, there's 5 things in our job description for production. Number 1 is lead generation. We need to lead generate. Number 2 is lead follow-up. We need to follow up. Fortune is in the follow-up. Number 3, we need to book, set, and go on appointments. Got to get eyeball to eyeball, belly button to belly button, face to face, toe to toe to get the next thing going. And that's number 4 is contracts. Got to get the contracts signed. And then number 5 is role play, scripts, practice. It's not always the best agent that's going to succeed. It's the best person that's going to practice the most. And I will say a few other things about those 5. Lead generation is for future business, especially right now in this market right now. We need to dig deep and create that future business. So that's lead generation. Lead follow-up, that's our today business. We need to constantly go through our follow-ups. I have a top 10, whether it's production or agent attraction. Who are my top 10 every day? Who can I book an appointment with? Who can I meet with? I've got a wealth chart, so it's top of mind because, I forget, so, and then of course, obviously setting and booking those appointments, and then writing those contracts, and then the practice. And all of this needs to be in our calendar. We've got to have it in our calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And the best lead generator and lead follow-upper, block it out in the morning. Like right now, we've got Monday Madness, Monday Mayhem going on in my office right now. And my agents are on the phones. They're calling, they're dialing, they're texting, they're emailing, they're doing some social posts. So we've got to do it in the morning. And I always recommend, I like to say, hey, you know what? Make a mess in the morning and then clean it up in the afternoon. So that's number 2. Number 1 is mindset. Think big, growth-minded mindset. Number 2 is how we spend our time. And I'll just do a little sidetrack with my morning ritual with how I spend my time, just taking this a little bit live and personal. So when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I cold plunge. I don't think about it. I don't negotiate. I just get up, I go hop in that pool. And it's cold. Right now it's getting a little warmer, but in the wintertime, that pool is like 42 degrees. I live close to Lake Tahoe. It's cold, but that's for mindset. Because if you can tell yourself, I'm going to hop in that cold plunge, I'm going to do it no matter what. I'm not going to negotiate. I'm going to just do it. There's other things in your life that you don't want to do, and throughout your day that you may not want to do, like lead generation or lead follow-up. Hey, just do it. Just go. Let's go. So I get up first thing, cold plunge. I drink 18 ounces of water. I get a little coffee going. And then I read the Bible, I pray, and then I stretch. Stretching is just as important as working out, especially when you're getting, like when you're my age. And then I work out. Today, I spent an hour on the Zwift trainer in my garage, listening to music, listening to podcasts, just growing. A lot of times I go to the gym. So after my workout, spend a little bit of time with my family, take my daughter to school. I got a 15-year-old, take her to school. And then from there, it's hit the bricks, man, hit the office. And then we have a little quick team huddle, and then they're on the phones. So that's, a little bit about my schedule. So again, the 4 keys. Number 1 is mindset. Number 2 is how you spend your time. Put it in your calendar. And then number 3 is who you spend your time with. And you've all heard this over and over and over. I think the one thing that has differentiated me in my business is spending time with Jim Rohn says you're the sum total of the 5 people you spend most time with. So kind of going back to my story, after I started, I went to Positive Mental Attitude and I saw Jim Rohn and all those, spent my time doing 4 sub-honors and expired. So I was the expired king. And then my favorite saying, I got these little sayings and quotes that I picked up along the way, and I'd recommend for you to grab one of your own. My favorite saying is from Wayne Gretzky. You've got to skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it's been. And a lot of people screw that up and they say you have to skate to puck where the puck is, but that ain't right. It's you got to know where the puck is going to be, right? Not where it's been. So whether it was traditional real estate or REOs, I was selling 400 or 500 homes a year, multiple year after year with the REOs. Then I hooked up with Blackstone Private Equity. I sold them 600 homes in 1 year. Then I had a big team. And as Adam mentioned, I was top agent. But the reason for all of that success, I'm going to put it on this one thing, because I was going to events. I was meeting with other people during the REO days. Man, I was out. I met with, Kinder, Reese. I met with Chris Waters. I met with, Mark Spain, all over the country, just meeting with these top agents and teams. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, what new tool do you have? What new system do you have? Hey, you got a new script? I mean, Zapier or whatever. So that's the 3rd key. So number 1, again, we got is mindset. Number 2 is how you spend your time. And then number 3 is who you spend your time with. And with the events that we have with EXP, it's just amazing how much value that we can get, whether it's for our production, our mindset, our health. Oh my gosh. We've got Build is coming up, and we've got an amazing 10X coach. I forget his name right now, but I tell you what, he's one of the guys. I have so much energy now because I went to the last Build and he was one of the keynote speakers. And we did a little bit of a quick test on blood test, and there was some supplements that he was able to recommend. And it's amazing how much energy that I have. So then after we go with mindset, how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, then the 4th is just take massive focused action. Because a lot of people, in fact, when I first started back in the business, there was an agent. He was about the same age as me. He went to the same high school as me and played on the same football team. And we were always competing. And when we started in real estate, they told us, they said, hey, work your database and work a farm, work a geographic farm. So he wanted, okay, I'm going to get a map. I'm going to put a map up in my office. He had, oh my gosh, he had stick pins, he had maps, I want to know all the people's names. I want to know the different models of these homes. I want to, know everything about. He was getting ready to get ready. Sometimes you just need to fire. I just went out and just started knocking on doors and just started talking to people and just making things happen. So take massive focused action. So that's the 4th key to success. And with all of that being said, we have to constantly gauge our business. We have to spend time in our business, and then we have to spend time on our business. So, for example, we need to constantly learn and grow from where we are, what we're doing, where we're going, the things that we learn. And once a month, I sit down And I asked myself, I just sit and I totally unplug for 4 hours, no phone, no nothing. And I just ask myself questions, how can I improve? What am I doing wrong? What can I do better? And through that process, I'm able to make some good decisions and move forward. Because to be honest, you think about the jet that's going from Los Angeles to New York, it's only actually on track 10% of the time. It's correcting. And we have to fail forward. And I don't think that I've been as successful without failing. People go, hey, how come you're so successful? I just say, well, I fail more than most other people. I screw up quite a bit. And then I learn from that. And we're going to pick ourselves back up quickly and make it happen. And so through my thinking time, I've looked back at my successes and my failures, and I've realized that one of my successes is by being a listing agent. So really, if you're right now in this market, if you are a listing agent and if you get a listing, bam, you're going to get showings, multiple offers. You're going to get that. If it's priced right, you're going to get that sold. Plus, your sign's going to be out there. For every listing, you should be able to get at least 3 to 4 ends from that one listing. So that's what I'm sharing with my team is right now, it's all about getting listings, because you know how long it takes to work with a buyer on average? 16 hours. You know how long on average with a seller? 6 hours. Why not leverage your time? So with the lead, Adam, how are we doing? Can I keep rolling here? Or did you want to stop and unpack it? Okay, I think he said we're good. He's on mute.
Yeah. I mean, we're good. I mean, we have this scheduled for an hour. Sometimes people go 45 minutes. I mean, you're killing it. I do have a couple of follow-up questions here.
Sure, sure.
That's awesome that you got to see Jim Rome like in person, like in like his prime with his other associates at the top of their game. I mean, that's pretty exciting because I only know these guys from DVDs and Automobile University and Zig from, like like from CDs. So that's awesome that, and this is what it always goes back to with almost every top producer and myself, we always get into Tony Robbins' event changed for me, right? When Gerby got me there and a lot of other people and reshaped the way that I think. And so when you weren't getting them results in the 60 days, you just think that you weren't having the enthusiasm and going loss to loss with the enthusiasm like you were when you came back. Like, what do you think was the one thing with the mental mindset from that one event? Because you just don't change your DNA. It takes time to work at it like a muscle, right? You understand that. Most people do. And so when you came back, like, what was the one thing that changed? Did you get up earlier? Did you start, working out in the morning when you were younger? Or did you just say, you know what, I'm not going to take it personal and I'm just going to put the time in and just not have any expectations and just see what happens? Like, what was that with mindset? And I got a few questions with each one of them. I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, I think the one thing for me was confidence, because when I went there, before I went there, I was not that confident. I felt, man, I'm just too young,
Right.
And people don't want to do business with me. But I got there and it gave me a whole new amount of confidence. And I think with the swagger and the confidence, and then the second thing that I heard was just what I would share with you, nugget number 4, take massive focused action. So when I got home, I'll be honest, I got a little bit of ADD and I'm just, squirrel,
Right.
So
Right.
because I was doing everything, I said, okay, the first thing that materializes that's what I'm going to focus on. And I got an expired listing, and I'll never forget. I mean, it was like $39,950, it was a condo in Sacramento. So I just focused on expired. So I got
No. So I like that. Let me kind of slow this down a little bit. I love it. So it's a confidence piece. I agree with you 100% because I started selling insurance at 21, 22, and I'm short and look like a baby then. Like I don't look 41. When I tell people Cabo, I look 41, everybody think I'm in my late 20s, early 30s. And so that confidence, I understand. I had that. And I was buying clothes at Salvation Army, driving an old Buick around. And that's what I thought it was too. I was blaming it on my age until somebody was able to infuse some confidence in me. And even when I got in real estate, I thought I would have killed it and done a little bit differently. And Gerbic had to get me in rooms around the right people. And so that ties into the next thing. Like, it's the confidence. And so getting around other people that believe in you or can get you to consume information so you can start to believe in yourself when no one else does, right?
Absolutely.
And then take that massive action when nobody else is getting results. When I got into real estate was during the last downturn, everybody was getting out of it. And I talked about this. I was making tons and tons of calls and we couldn't even give them homes away. Like even with a free pie or hot cake or anything, like 300 signs Mike had in the yard and only 9 homes pending, priced right. Like that's crazy back then. Right. But I thought that that's just the way it was. So when things started to turn around, and things got real easy for me because that's just how I knew it was like. Real estate was tough. I didn't know it was tough. I just thought that's how it was, right? And so what we experienced over these last 5 to 7 years were really kind of like sitting on floor duty. Everything was coming to you, just on floor duty, right? But how do you get around the right people? For me, I kind of got lucky coming from a poverty situation, a lot of drugs and alcohol, on my mom's side of the family. And so like I had to cut a lot of people out of my life and be very intentional with seeking out this information when I thought it was motivation or a lot of hype or rah stuff. And I didn't understand the power mindset at this time, right? Until Gerby got me around it. And then I said, I have to start making better choices because my choices end up becoming a reflection of who I am. And their thoughts end up becoming my thoughts, even though I've been friends with these guys since high school or we came from the same lower end area or whatever, but they're not wanting to improve their life. They're not, taking action, reading books, listening to podcasts, wanting to go to events, looking for better jobs, mentors, any of that stuff. So like, did you have a problem getting around a new group of people? Was that hard for you? Or what did you have to do other than showing up to the office and the guy put you on a plane, which Mike did that to me because I showed up, I was giving it effort and that's what kind of happened to me. But how did you level up? Like I got around Brent and Jay Kinder and all them 6 months into the game and a lot of other people. But I mean, how did that go for you? How would you tell someone to get around someone and cut their friends off, cut their family off? Maybe what would you give them some tact to do that?
Good question. So I just had to make some difficult decisions, because, there's people that are energy gainers and then there's people that are energy drainers. So right after that conference, I came home and I made a commitment to only hang out with people that are energy gainers. Some of my kids, my friends that, I was in high school with and college, they were energy drainers. That's not going to work. You can't do that. And I was too worried about what people were thinking.
Right.
But the bottom line is they weren't really thinking about me as much as I was thinking they were thinking about me. I don't know if you got that, but people aren't thinking about you. And you think about kids in school and in college right now, especially with social media in high school and girls and boys and whatever, the number one problem that the kids have now growing up, and I think makes a big difference for all of us, is self-confidence and self-esteem. If you have self-confidence and self-esteem, I'm not kidding you, it's a game changer, 100%.
Right.
So
I believe that what you tell yourself ends up, becoming your reality over time, and it, gets into your DNA and you manifest it, right or wrong. I believe that. And so there are just a lot of people that just love to like say negative stuff and say hurtful things and put people down. And it's like, but it's like that they might not overcome that for some years, and it's very unfortunate because if you speak like really empowering into other people and give them that confidence and you're that backbone, it's amazing what people could do. I asked Mike, and I'll give you an example. When Mike turned his brokerage over to me and gave me ownership, the broker walked out that day and a handful of the top agents. And then I made my own mistakes and lost production, but I grew through it and replaced it every year. Looking back 13 years later, a couple of years ago, I asked Mike, I said, knowing what I know now, and where I was at, you were crazy as hell to turn your business over to me. I said, why did you do that? And then we had to go through what we went through. He said, I was looking at you for what you could become, not for where you were at that moment. And I was like, that's powerful, because he was like, I was talking to you and treating you like you were already there, even though you wasn't yet. And it turned me into that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And then, but to be honest with you, once I started getting all of this success and, top agent worldwide, walking across stage, getting all these big awards, I started getting a little bit too confident and I started getting a little bit too cocky.
Right.
And I started, to be honest with you, I got involved with buying and selling, flipping properties from 2000 to 07. I bought and sold hundreds of properties and I was buying them. So then when the market tanked in 07, 08, I was a little bit too prideful. I had a little bit too much confidence and, oh man, I'm making a killing and I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to keep rolling. And that came to haunt me. I had too much confidence and I was too slow to make a move. And too slow to change. That's another tip. When we know the right thing to do, we need to make a quick move on that, especially.
Was it on the lead generation piece to that? You didn't change the lead generation or maybe the personnel? What was that?
The personnel. Yeah.
Okay.
We need to be slow to hire and quick to fire. I had a big old team and a big old personnel, and then the market changed. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to, make it through this thing. And another thing that I learned from that is, I kind of felt like the first half of my life was all about success and all about me. And I got a little prideful. And then now the second half is about significance. And that's what really determines winners and losers. In fact, I've got a friend that got on a plane and he actually sat down right next to Lou Holtz. And he asked him, he said, hey, Lou, man, I'm not going to badger you with a bunch of questions, but I'm just going to ask you one question if you don't mind. And Lou said, yeah, sure, no problem. Right. He said, what is the difference? What determines winners and losers? And you know what Lou said? He said, what determines the winners and losers is how you play the second half, right? Isn't that good? It's how you play the second half. You take any sports team, football, basketball, I mean, you name it. So
look at the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The second half, yeah.
Right? How you play your second half. Yeah. So I want to jump right into some lead generation levers and some listing tips. Can we jump over into some marketing and some
we're kind of getting down to your 5 principles here, and you can jump around where, so you didn't make the change with the personnel, but it did sound like you made the change with the lead generation at that time for when you had your breakthrough, because when everybody has that first breakthrough, that confidence is real. Like I went through that, my ego got inflated a little bit, and then I had to take some losses and humble myself, you know what I mean? And it's happened before, and it's real. The role-playing piece to that, I'm kind of interested in, since you didn't have the technology back then, being in the game 35 years, for me, I used to record every single call, and then I would go home and listen to myself at night, and I hated it, but I would start to hear what they were saying, but they weren't really saying those words or whatever on the phone, but I was more like a deer caught in a headlight, and I was very robotic. And so that helped me a lot early on when we were as ISA building the call center and becoming an agent. Like early on, like 35 years ago, you guys knew about role playing. And
Mike Ferry was the man. Mike Ferry, I had the cassettes, man. Many of you probably don't remember a cassette, but anyway, I would plug those cassettes in my car and listen to Mike Ferry over and over and then repeat afterwards. And he just pounded it into my head, and I constantly, and then I had an accountability partner. That's another key that's always really helped my success, is accountability with business. So for example, right now I've got an accountability partner. Every single morning we text each other. These are my 10 big rocks today. These are the things that I'm going to do today. And
is this person in your organization or outside of your organization?
He's outside my organization. Okay. He's with EXP. Okay. Steve McCarthy, you may know Steve. He's my man. We text each other every morning, and those are my big 10 rocks. And
do you and him have similar goals that are in alignment, and that's why you picked him, or you just trust him to hold you accountable?
Yeah, we've got our business goals, we've got our health goals, and we've got fitness. And then, so we text each other every single morning, and then every single night. Hey man, I hit my big 10 rocks. Hey, I hit my big 10. If we don't, it's burpees. And I hate burpees, man.
I like it.
So that's another thing that's really helped me is the accountability, 100%.
So with the lead follow-up piece to that, with the accountability, with the role play tied into that, when you're talking about generating new leads, prospecting, that's different than follow-up. You don't lump it together. I like that. And so when you say a couple hours a week, a couple hours a day, like what is your definition of new, like lead generation? That could be very vague or wide, in these like this digital world that we live in. And just like we have a question right here, like what's your suggestion for staying positive in a virtual world? I'm a new agent from New York. I do not have a desk duty, and my EXP upline is a top producer in Texas. However, I do not know too many local agents and cannot really hang out with the winners since I'm not local to them. So how do you maybe triangulate with them and maybe role play or be accountable? And that's a question in the chat there that I just saw. So
so there's a lot of people within the EXP that in workplace, we just put it out there. There's Facebook, there's so many different groups. I mean, in fact, that's how I found my current accountability partner. I just put it in Facebook. One of my coaches, and that's another tip, is I have had so many coaches, and I still have coaches. I have always either 3 to 4 coaches, because whether it's sports or business, we don't know everything. And if we can get there faster with less effort, let's leverage coaches. And that's one of the things that I was in a coaching club, and I said, hey, I need an accountability partner. So I just put it out there. And, a lot of people say, how do I get motivated? I can't get motivated. Well, motivation follows action. Once you take that action, and for me, it's 3 hours of lead generation and follow-up every single day. My goal
3 hours
is 3 hours. My goal is 100 dials a day, whether it's production, my database, whether it's agent attraction, it's 100 dials a day. And just by taking action, taking massive focused action, then the motivation is going to follow. Because so many people say, oh man, I can't get motivated. I'm not motivated. Well, just take action. Don't worry about motivation. And another thing is goals. Goals suck, habits rule. Goals suck, habits rule. Don't worry. I mean, goals are good. It's great. I write down my goals, my big hairy ass goals, BHAG goals, but dial that down, drill that down to action items. What action are you going to do today? Just do something. Just move the needle. Do something today, and that's going to move the needle, and it's going to build your confidence, and you're going to hit your big hairy goal. So just take some sort of action. When I go to a conference, I learned this way back when I went and saw Jim Rohn and Art Linkletter. I had pages and pages of notes, and I took it down to the top 100, and then I took it down to the top 10, and then I took it down. What is the one thing that's going to make the biggest difference for me to put into action soon as I get home, right away? Boom. And I know, Adam, same with you. We go to these conferences, and man, it's like a squirrel trying to find a nut. We're just, it's a little bit overwhelming, but put something into action today. So.
And the crazy part is people are looking for, these nuggets from us too, and expect us to be leaders and to stay leading edge with changes and stuff like that. And so for sure, it's a little overwhelming. Now, she said, thank you. It's a great idea for workplace to find an accountability partner and script partner. You can download the actual calendar from EXP also and it populates. and you can see what's coming up and pick and choose icon series or who's coaching or training. And if you're part of the Top Agent Experts group, which you probably are, go join that group or get a hold of me or Gary Gray, and we'll get you plugged into some of our calls that we're doing for the group as well. And we can get you an accountability partner as well. But anyways, good stuff, Tom. So the 100 calls a day. Now, do you use a dialer? You know, do you hand dial or you mix it up?
Yeah. So for production, I use the Follow-Up Boss dialer, and then I also use the Mojo dialer when I'm calling my database. So let's get back to the 4 pillars of production, the 4 pillars of lead generation for business, for my business. Number 1 is database, sphere of influence. Because really, to be honest with you, that's the only tangible asset we really have in this business is our database, our influencers, and our sphere of influence, right? So we need to constantly foster our database. We need to connect with them, have events, provide value. Do they need a CMA in their house? Are they interested in, do they need any cleanup or yard clean? We've got a bunch of vendors can come out and serve them and help them and make a big difference. So our database is the first pillar. So for that, I use Follow-Up Boss to call through, and I'm constantly keeping notes and keeping it up to speed.
What's the front end consumer site to that? Follow-Up Boss is a back end. Do you connect it to KB Core, or what do you have connected to the front end?
Yes. So the front end of that is my website and Fellow. So basically people will hear about me and either on the radio or through my other marketing or my social media. And then so everything goes into the Follow-Up Boss. And so that's really the key. Number 1 is our database. And then number 2.
So are you spending money? Hold on. Sorry to cut you off. So you're doing radio. You mentioned a lot of inbound stuff right here, but are you paying pay-per-click ads? Are you running ads and generating leads as well like that?
Not pay-per-click. No, we're doing radio. We do TV and radio.
Okay. So that's what Mike did before I came in and we did some of the internet stuff. So you're putting your messaging out and creating more of an inbound approach back across the website and capturing the calls and stuff that way.
That's correct.
I like it.
Yeah. And what we do is we tell a lot of stories because facts, basically stories sell. Facts tell, stories sell. So we'll take a story of someone that had their home listed on the market before, it didn't sell, then they contact me and we're able to come in and get their home cleaned up and the repairs done. And we've got a program where they don't have to pay up front. They just pay at the close of escrow, and then we get it sold. And so then they can move on with their life. Well, we'll unpack that.
So what percentage of your business represents this? Are you a 60-40 business, listing 60, buyer 40? Or are you more 70-30 with this model?
Yeah, 70-30. Yeah, 70% listings. And
everybody give Tom a round of applause, man. That's solid. Good job, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, the core 4 is number 1 is our database. And then number 2 is all of our TV, radio, and online marketing with a lot of video. I'm very consistent with the video. And to be honest, I was scared to do video. I was afraid, but I got in an accountability group and we just started pushing out photos, started pushing out videos every single day. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. You don't have to be great. You just have to be consistent. And there's 3 key things because everybody's like, what do I say? What do I do? Well, need to push out got to push out some personal videos with you and your family. This weekend, we had a baseball thing. So personal videos. And then the second thing is business. Go ahead and push out business videos, something about the business. You're adding value. Hey, this is what's happening in this market, in this neighborhood. Hey, here's a new restaurant. You can interview. The very easiest one is to interview someone. Just interview a mortgage broker, interview a client. So personal, business, and then inspirational videos. And if we're consistent with adding value and sharing this, and one tip also, don't watch it. Once you cut a video, don't watch it, okay? Just go ahead and push it out because it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of people think, man, it's got to be perfect. So database, online, and TV and radio, and then also open houses. Our team focuses on big open houses. We do all of the pre-marketing and the door knocking and all of the flyers and social media to hold a big 25 signs out in that neighborhood. And then when the people come into that open house, people will come in and they sign our sign-up sheet. We have a little table right there at the front door. They sign in. Hey, great. Go ahead and take a look, make yourself at home. And then when they come back, you know what our script is? So would you like to buy the house? And they're like, whoa. Well, no, we're looking for a 4-bedroom. This is just a 3-bedroom. Oh, great. So it sounds like we need to book an appointment to map out a strategy to find you a 4-bedroom. Are weekdays or weekends better? So that's really the number one goal for an open house, because most agents, oh, I want to get names and numbers. I want to get names and numbers. Screw names and numbers. Book a freaking appointment. And if you're getting a lot of people coming through that open house and you're overwhelmed, just focus on one person, eyeball to eyeball, connect with them. Don't worry about everybody else and just connect with them and book an appointment. And then once you book that appointment, obviously it's a buyer consultation. Actually, we call it a strategy session, because as soon as you say a buyer consultation, they're going to like freak out. Hey, let's do a strategy session. Let's map out a game plan. So that's the open houses. And then the fourth is online and geographic marketing. Geographic, we market through neighborhoods and through farms. So and then I also have ISAs, outbound ISAs. They're calling our database, calling the follow-up, calling through neighborhoods to book an appointment for us to get get in front of those clients, buyers and sellers. And then once we get in front of them, we have a great value proposition. We all need to have a value proposition. We all need to have an elevator.
Hey, Tom, I'm going to ask one question with ISAs. I'm going to run upstairs and get my charger and you can keep going, but I'm very interested with this. ISAs are hard to get going. I mean, we built call centers. We've coached on this model, organically done very well for many years. Are your ISAs in-house or are they VAs out of house? Like, help us understand. Are they local, not local? Because that makes a difference. So can you help us understand the makeup of that? I might get my charger. I'll be right back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've done both. I've had in the office and I've had outside the office. Right now, they are working out of their home office. They're local, they're close by. They've both been with me for over 2 years, and we actually just moved into our Regis office center. So they're working out of their home. So they're on the phones, they're calling, they're dialing, and a lot of people are picking up the phone right now. We've kind of gone full circle. About a year ago, people weren't really picking up the phone that much. Right now, people are picking up the phone. So what they do is they call them, they leave a voicemail, and they also text. You have to do a personal text, keep it personal, leave a voicemail, and send an email. And again, the fortune is in the follow-up. They're calling constantly and following up in order to, have people raise their hand, because people have problems to solve, and yes, the inventory is low right now, but there are always people that have to sell. I go to the 5 Ds, right? Either death, divorce, diapers, diplomas, or the daily grind. People have to sell. So their job is to find the motivated and then connect with them. And by asking questions, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. By asking questions, they're able to help them out, solve problems, whether it's to buy a home or to sell a home. And then we're able to, connect with them. So the elevator pitch is this: basically, our UVP, unique value proposition, our differentiator on the listing side is three things. Number one is marketing. It's not always the best agent, it's the best marketer. And so no one markets better, will market to get their home sold with the top dollar in the shortest amount of time. So we market better than anybody. Number two is negotiating. No one negotiates better than us. Every single one of our agents are certified negotiators. Wouldn't you like someone negotiating on your best behalf that's certified?
I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I say that too.
And then number three is just the ability to get the job done. With so many clients that we've served, we have the track record and the experience, because anyone can, do the 3 Ps, pop up a sign and then put it in MLS and then pray that it sells, right? But we need to get the job done and get it closed so you can move on with your life to, you want to move to Walla Walla, Washington. And that is what you want to do, isn't it? Is to move on with your life, right? You got to tie it back to their emotion and tie it back to their motivation. So that's on the listing side. And then on the buy side, we've got the buyer plan of action. We've got a buyer plan of action because any agent can locate, their home and find them. I mean, buyers are out there, they're online faster than most agents. But what really differentiates us is once we identify the area that they want, we have a buyer plan of action to find that home for them. We knock on doors, we call expires, we call the foreclosures, we check on, we've got a pre-marketing list in that area. So we go to bat and we work with them to secure by our off-market property. So those are a couple of tips and nuggets. So I think we're kind of winding down on our time here. Do you have anybody have any other questions, Adam?
Yeah, no, I love it. Let me see here. I don't see any, but here's what I love, man. It's like a lot of the same stuff I hear you say, like we've had to learn and figure out, like the unique value propositions. We teach on that. Like we run the worry-free listing program. It's a home marketing system, right? And then breaking it down and value stacking it inside of there. Sounds like you guys do that as well. And I love this. This is what I try to give my buyer agents, even in the network or on my team right now. You're not a showing agent. It's like you might have been the last 3 years or 5 years you've been in real estate, but that's not going to cut it in the future. Being an order taker, it's like you're going to have to be a professional negotiator, and that's what you have to tell these people. This is why we are sitting down. Like we're going to come up with that strategic game plan. They don't want to get presented on. Nobody wants to get presented and puked on. But I like that. That's what we say: a strategic game plan, a strategy. So you say strategy session, right? In the open house. I think I love the old school mentality of like, we're not mixing and matching with homes. We're going to set an appointment before you walk out this door. Like, is this one work for you? Like, I love that with open house, man. That's just stone cold right there.
Yeah.
How does some of your younger agents take that? Do they give you some pushback, or they set appointments too off of it, or is it uncomfortable for the younger generation to do that?
Yeah, so a lot of them, it's through confidence, getting back to that confidence, and that goes through the role play and the scripts. So before we take off here, I've got 6 steps for doing more in today's market. So
you got more for us. All right, let it go then. We got 10 minutes.
Okay, here we go. So again, and some of this ties back to my keys, but number one is we have to foster a positive mindset and see the possibility. There's so many opportunities in this market right now. So number one is foster a positive mindset and possibility. Number two is continually play offense. So many agents are playing defense with their schedule, with their day, with their play offense. Any successful sports team, they're playing offense, especially to finish strong, right? Number three is listen more than ever. Listen to your clients, listen to your agents, listen to the market. So we have to listen. And then number 4 is live outside your comfort zone. We have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Anything you want and need in life, anything is just beyond your comfort zone and you can have it. Number 5 is focus on what you can control. So many people are trying to worry about what they can't control and negative complaining. Focus on what you you can control. You can control your day. You can control your ritual, your schedule. You can control your calls. Focus on what you can control. And then number 6 is live with certainty in these uncertain times. So many of us people have fear and they get, they watch news or they look at the social media too much. I think the news does more to terrify than to clarify. So just live with certainty. So those are my 6 tips. That's all I've got, Adam. So much. Hey, I got to bounce. Glad to see you here, man.
Yeah, dude, Tom, this is going to be going out to 2,500 agents, man. And the few that showed up here, they're lucky to hear you live. I want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be able to come and do this so we can get it out to our group. Let me know if I can do anything for you. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you showing up with the golden nuggets today, man. And I will do part 2 with you guys. Got my story out, and then I'm going to drop some marketing and sell stuff on you. Let me know when you need me again, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. See y'all later.
Yep.
Ciao.
1 second.